Alright, so now I'd like to go over the second way of wiring together our motors. As you can see, I've taken the motor wires off of the noggin, and in addition to that, I've attached black, red, and yellow wires to each of them. So this method is going to be very similar to our level 1 class. In our level 1 class, we kind of just use the breadboard to wire our motors to the robot. I'd like to remind you all why we're choosing these colors of wires. So if you look closely, you'll notice that the wires attempt to mirror on either side. So this is the motor side, these are the loose wires that I plugged in. So notice the orange is matched up with the yellow, the red is matched up with the red, and the brown is matched up with the black. So I tried to stay consistent from this side to this side. Now the reason for that is not because the 3 different colors of wires are capable of doing different things. These red, black, and yellow wires are all doing the same job. They're just conducting electricity. They're just making closed circuits. But if we make sure that every black wire means the same thing, every red wire means the same thing, and every yellow wire means the same thing, we're going to make a lot less mistakes. And the mistakes we do make are going to be pretty easy to spot. So that's why we do that. Okay, so I've wired my 2 servo motors to be attached to these 3 loose wires that I have color-coded. And I'm going to place them in specific areas on the breadboard. I'm going to place the red wires with this red wire that's already here attached to the breadboard, because the red wires on the motors need to be connected to power. That's going to be what powers our motors. Now luckily I have already been color coding these circuits as I've been adding them to the robot. So I know that this red wire is connected on the noggin to 5 volts. So I'm just going to take my 2 red wires from my 2 motors and plug them into 5 volts. So all the red wires are on the same row, they're all getting 5 volts. Likewise, I have my 2 black wires, which are supposed to represent ground, G and D. Now I already have a black wire here that is connected to the Barnabas Noggin in the G and D pin. So that means that entire row there is G and D. So if I just place these 2 black wires like so, then I have ground connected to both motors as well. Lastly, these 2 yellow wires are going to be giving me the signal. I'm going to plug the left motor into pin 10 and the right motor into pin 11 on the Barnabas Noggin. And there you have it. My racer now has both of its motors connected. The upside to doing this is that you do not have the problem of USB power not moving your motors. So no matter which power source you have plugged in, you will always be able to move your motors, which means when you're testing things, you can test while it's directly attached to the computer. You don't have to waste battery life. The downside is this mess, and we definitely are having the same problem we had before about wires getting caught in the wheels. So you may need to clean this up by like zip tying a bunch of wires together like that. So ultimately it's up to you which method you use. I've given you sort of the pros and cons to each of them. Ultimately it's your choice. I think in most of my classes I do the first method, but I need to be conscientious of the fact that our batteries may be dying sometime in the middle of class on a given week. So I have to make sure I have spares. There are small changes to the software, to how you code the robot to accommodate for lower power, which we'll get into at some later point in another video. Other than that, there you guys go. I will see you in the next video.